Hi guys, welcome to Robin Hood Diaries this evening. As promised, this is going to be about traveling to Australia and the South Pacific with my sister, my stepbrother, and my then stepmother. Soleil Moon Fry, of course, as we all know, is my sister. My stepbrother would be Meeno, and my stepmother now goes by Sandra Laundy. So, very last minute thing. Let's just jump to the chase. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. So, I was freshly 18. I had my own apartment. I moved out and got my own apartment by 17. So, freshly 18, essentially, I get a call of sorts or some form of contact from my stepmother at the time that I could go on this huge trip with them to Australia and areas in the South Pacific because Soleil had a press junket, which is something that you're required to do around the world if you are world famous or around the country. It's a junket. You just kind of go from place to place. You either do a book signing. In Soleil's case, you do a radio interview, a television appearance on a variety show, something of that nature. So, I could already kind of tell that there was a babysitting element to this trip. As beautiful and wonderful as it was, and as glad as I am that I went, I was of age. My stepbrother, I want to say, was 15, but Meeno, I always thought was 5 years younger than me, which would have made him 13. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying he was 13. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He was 15, let's say freshly 15. Soleil had just recently begun Punky Brewster, so whatever that age is, young, 8, I don't know, give or take. Never watched it too much. And then, of course, my stepmother. So this radical rush, I even think I had to give up my apartment. It was in such a rush, but anyway, I end up meeting them all in Hawaii. I guess they had been in Hawaii for some time, or I don't know, we're going from somewhere to somewhere, and I was hooking up with them in Hawaii. Trip was that sudden hookup in Hawaii, straight to Fiji, which is literally in the middle of nowhere, you guys, and then off to Australia, and then a visit to the Great Barrier Reef, and then Tahiti, and then back to Los Angeles. So that's kind of what I signed up for, give or take, what I look forward to very much. So we sort of regroup in Hawaii, and then we are off to Fiji. Now, traveling the world was nothing new to me at this time. By this trip, I had already been to, at least over 15 countries, everything from China to Turkey to Switzerland to Austria, you name it. This was, something I was used to, and I love to travel, right? So nothing new to me, except massive long plane trip, of course, to Australia, stopping off in Fiji, like I said, which is a speck. I mean, Google Earth Fiji. There's like nothing there. It's two little, teeny little nothings next to nothing. Beautiful though. I mean, literally, like sparklets water, oceans everywhere, and long stretches of low tide and white beaches and all that. So wonderful. We end up in Fiji. My stepmother drinks pineapple juice that's rancid, and I spend most of the time nursing her through food poisoning. But other than that, we did get to see a couple things. Very, very bizarre little provincial, otherworldly things on these tiny, 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 tiny little islands. Two islands, whatever. Fiji. So much appreciated, wonderful trip, very exciting. Early on, I mean, oh my God, you guys, it's like 80, I want to say 84, no, 85. So I'm out of high school, I'm legal. So then off to Australia. So again, there's no press junket in Fiji. That was basically a layover, but we stayed there a few days. So we end up in Australia. Now, one of the very, very close friends of the family, meaning on Soleil / Sandra / Meeno's side, of the family, to include, of course, my father and me by proxy, because I was close with him too, was a very famous, one of the most famous Australian actors named Jack Thompson. Jack, you'll have to Google him. He's like, I don't know, the Robert Redford of Australia, or something of that nature. Very close to us, and although we did not stay with him, we may as well have, because he's in Sydney, and we all converged in Sydney with the intention of going down to Melbourne from Sydney, spending time all along the mainland there. So, of course, we get to Australia. Sydney is one of the most beautiful cities that I had seen. Not the most, but certainly up there. Jack had lived, was living, and continued to live a very unorthodox life. His spouses, as it were, it's no secret, were a pair of sisters. So basically, for decades, they lived as a throuple. Go figure. But two were sisters. So, hey, no biggie. I knew them. Lovely ladies, lovely throuple. So there was that. That was a big component of the trip, spending time with Jack and them, and beautiful, beautiful sights in Sydney to see, and all kinds of wonderfulness. So again, I begin to notice, which is no big deal. Hey, I was along for the ride, free trip and all, that there was this babysitting component though, because I was of age. Meeno was at the most 15, as I believe, as I recall. And my sister was next to nothing. I don't know how, whatever, old, young, whatever that Punky Brewster age was. I don't really know. So we're there. Now we're in Australia. Okay, so we're doing the Sydney thing. There's lots to do, lots to see. Again, plenty of time minding my sister in the hotel room. No biggie, I don't mind. They had Walkmans. So I bided my time. And then we go down to Melbourne. Now, Melbourne is, of course, just south of Sydney, along the mainland there of Australia, of course. So we go down to Melbourne. Melbourne is more like a miniature Sydney, like it's kind of nice and like mini cosmopolitan feeling, you know, a river and some maybe a couple, high-risey type things, but museums, and also very bohemian areas by the beach. Everything is sort of downscaled, but it's a lovely city. It's one of the most beautiful cities that I've been to in terms of just the vibe. The beaches there, you guys, whoa, fun beaches. So we're in Melbourne, and again, I guess I don't want to say social life or in that region of things was to mind my sister and in a way mind my stepbrother. Absurd story that I'm embarrassed to tell on that end of it with Meeno, because these are two stories about my stepbrother and I. Meeno. I was so vain at 18, it was ludicrous. And it was a lot of my body issues. So I wasn't necessarily like vanity consumed, but I was very preoccupied with skin stuff. Skincare, beauty, whatever. This is mid 80s, and I'm struggling to be as gorgeous as I can for the industry. But then I'm playing against that because I, at that particular time, was in the habit of dyeing my eyelashes. Okay, guys? Yes, Sean felt compelled to dye his eyelashes. And that was like when he got a haircut at this fancy dated 80s salon in Le Bellage Hotel in West Hollywood. So here I am in Sydney with apparently not much to do, again, minding the minors, and I want to go out to find a salon, right? Because I hadn't dyed my lashes in a while. I know, you guys, total nutcase. But I have to bring my stepbrother in tow because, again, I'm the minder, sort of. So here I am dragging my poor stepbrother around Sydney, literally randomly looking for salons where I can maybe get an eyelash tint. That is how uh, scrambled my brain was at 18. Thank God I got over that kind of intensity of vanity in short order within the next couple of years before tragedy hit me like a hurricane. So anyway, that went nowhere. I actually went into a couple of salons, my little brother in tow, ludicrous imagine, asking randomly salon to salon in a part of Sydney that we had been left in to mind ourselves or sightsee or something. And I must have made it through 2 to 3 salons. Of course, they think I'm absolutely out of my gourd asking for such a thing. And there you have it. We went home, no tinted lashes, back to the hotel, and back to minding the children. Again, not complaining, foreign country, lots of travel, fun. So here's where I had the issue with the trip. And I know it sounds like something not much of anything, but to me, it was a something because it pulled a lot of old tapes for me that weren't very pleasant. And I was at that time and for many, many years sort of masking how I really felt and sort of wearing sort of a facade of charm, let's say, as a survival mechanism. A lot of that will be answered in my book, my forthcoming book. But nevertheless, here I was in the minding situation. Now, it was a weekend evening, and as I recall, the club, I don't know what the drinking age is. I don't remember. It had to have been 18. It really had to have been because, and I can't swear to anything, but it was a bar slash club, a bar posing as a club. No dance, I mean, it was just a club. There was no food. So, and it was, I believe it was called Retro. I think I put that in the promo. It was a popular Melbourne club bar place, not huge. It's the picture I believe is in the promo I put out, the preview I put out. So here I am now. Let's just say not discouraged. I don't want to go anywhere further than that because this is like a hailstorm potentially for its inferences. This. So as sort of minder of Meeno and his social activities for the evening, we end up at this bar club. And I'm in my turtleneck looking sharp with my jewelry, and Meeno is as spiffy as he can look at 15, just 15. And we go into this bar. Now, this is already pulling tapes for me because I know, again, a lot of this is in my book, but I spent the largest portion of my life turning on charm, among many other things, in a natural, unnatural way, in a way that was not authentically me, but that I knew how to do very well. My father was extremely charismatic, my mother was extremely charismatic, and I was conditioned to be extremely charismatic. And this I saw coming when I brought my 15-year-old stepbrother to a bar that was very clean and nice and full of really friendly, pretty ladies. And I turned on that charm that for so many years I can flip on like a switch and it becomes a chick magnet. I am so sorry for that term. But because of my absorbing this by osmosis from my father, who was an unparalleled charisma in and of himself, I could turn that same charm on. Next thing you know, I am in this bar, the only one of age, 18, so I don't know the drinking age there off the top of my head, with my 15-year-old stepbrother, who is now being glommed onto by several pretty ladies that are not 15. And a lot of this has to do with me because I sat down and I turned on that age-old charm that goes clickety-click like a ticker tape. I black out. I don't know what I'm doing. And I turn on that charm and that conversation just goes flying and it becomes a bit of, a chick magnet. Well, this magnet was a little bit too wide and it sucked my brother in my stepbrother. And I suddenly had stuff go through me about feeling, I don't want to say procuring, but it pulled a whole bunch of old tapes for me. And it left me in a very, very odd frame of mind. So I continued on, of course. The ladies were more and more fast and furious, glomming onto my little stepbrother and to me, which was a tree not to be barked up because I was. It wasn't. I wasn't. That was the irony: is that I could go on and be bait for everybody. Not with them necessarily, but the story of my life, kind of in a way. Throw him in a room, make him be charismatic, draw all the people to him, and then pile on in. And I did that for I was manipulated to do that, to turn on that charm from the industry and from my upbringing. You are just trained as a defense mechanism to turn on this kind of very genuine, very artificial charm. And I found myself having to do that in this bar with my 15-year-old stepbrother. I didn't have to do it, but girls were coming at me because I was in a position to turn on that charm. I was also sort of acting babysitter for my stepbrother. And lo and behold, one of the girls that gloms onto us has 3 other friends that want to drag us all over Melbourne to clubs and have fun, and all with the sort of anticipation of boyfriendiness. Well, again, that's the wrong tree to be barking up for me, but it was not the wrong tree for my stepbrother. And let's just say he ended up with a girlfriend for the remainder of our time there, left Melbourne, Sydney there. So I guess I accomplished a mission of sorts that left me feeling very torn. So that behind us, I can say that it was a memorable trip. I expected more because at that time, then we were set to go to Tahiti, much like that sort of break trip that we had taken and stopped off in Fiji. Same sort of thing was supposed to have happened on the way home to the States in Tahiti. Now, Soleil got suddenly called on some emergency NBC something or other that needed her, 3,000 miles away in 2 hours. So we were just left to have to escape Australia. I was very, very disappointed because I wanted to see Tahiti, and my then stepmother was kind enough to finance a few days for me to stop off in Tahiti on the way home to Los Angeles. So they go LA, I go straight from Australia to Tahiti by myself, which I am prone to not hating because I'm an interesting character who didn't mind being by himself his whole life now and again for bizarre and unusual reasons. So I end up in Tahiti. I will leave you with this: by myself. Now I'm in Tahiti for several days by myself in this hotel on the outskirts of nowhere. Getting a cab is impossible from the airport. The only transportation is this rickety bus that kind of goes up and down the coastline from the Black Beach to this really scary market, like Central Market, back to where I was. So yes, it was lovely. I mean, the scenery was lovely. The black beaches are amazing. The marketplace was very interesting. Chasing after little buses on the coastline to get back to the hotel was interesting. And I guess one of the most bizarre and, in the end, unnerving parts of being in Tahiti was all that time in my room when I wasn't hanging out in that dreary cocktail lounge was TV in the hotel / motel-y kind of feeling. And guess what? All those days in Tahiti, all you can watch, because the sun goes down, what are you going to do in Tahiti? Good God. There's television, but in Sean's television in his little hotel room, motel, it was really just like a motel size type deal, was two things on a constant loop over and over and over and over again the whole time, back to back. You wanted to take a shower, sit down, watch some TV, you got these two. You wanted to do anything, you got these two movies back to back over and over for the entire stay. What were they? Return to the Planet of the Apes and New Wave Hookers. Now, New Wave Hookers is now a cult classic, Porno. Just listen, I mean, the name alone, of course, tells you it's going to be a cult classic, New Wave Hookers. So Google it. I don't know what do you do with it, but find it. It's very amusing. And I can unfortunately recite New Wave Hookers to you backwards because I had to watch that with Return of the Planet of the Apes. Boy, what a double feature, huh? Oh my God, was I glad to get out of Tahiti. So back to LA, back to my life, back to finding an apartment and learning how to be 18 and all of kinds of other stuff that happened within that context, within that component of my family that rolled on in, of course, after that little trip. But you will have to wait for my second book to get all those details. So I hope I played it true to form today. Australia, South Pacific, the stepbrother thing, the shenanigans throughout Sydney, Melbourne, Fiji, and Tahiti. There you go. That's tonight's Robin Hood Diaries. Tomorrow, I believe I have nailed down a topic that is extremely controversial. Not to leave you with some cliffhanger, I don't like doing that. But if I'm going to nail this topic down, it's going to be a doozy because it's going to kind of shake a cage or two. So what else is new, right? I love you guys. Thanks for putting up with me. Do or do not do something that I would or would not do. How about that? Okay. I'll see you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your company. Okay. Soon enough. Bye.